Hello, governor. Nobody speaks like that. Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Hopefully you've been doing well. A little while back on the community tab, I asked you guys, what is a fragrance that you wear? And when you do, you constantly get people coming up to you asking you, what do you got on? Like, what is that fragrance? It smells awesome. I want it for myself. Or, you know, maybe a lady coming up asking you, what do you have on? And you guys gave me your answers, which is what we're gonna be going over today. Fragrances that will always get you asked, what are you wearing? What do you have on? If you want to be part of a future video like this, check out the community tab. I've usually got a question on there. You can answer it with your own fragrance suggestion or upvote other people's. Let's get into it. Vlad B1835 is up first, who says, surprisingly, because nobody seems to talk about it anymore, and I'm pretty sure it's discontinued, but Low Blue DC is the one that people always ask about. Low Blue DC. Now, that is a name I've not heard in a long time. It's like from Star Wars. I don't usually get questions about other fragrances, but this one seems to grab attention every single time I wear it. So this is my only bottle of the stuff. I've got, I don't know, it looks like maybe half still in there. This is one I really like. It's green, has a little bit of like an aquatic freshness to it. It's got rosemary in there, cypress. I think it smells great. It's quite unique compared to a lot of other things on the market today. The quality is nice as well, like you would expect from Issey Miyake. So this is one that I can get behind. I can say yes, and it makes sense because, again, this does not smell like everything else out. And I know it's in a blue bottle. It's called Low Blue DC, so maybe you're thinking, you know, typical blue fragrance scent profile. It is not. It's also not too terribly expensive, though it is a little bit harder to find now than it used to be, because this one you used to be able to pick up for like 25 bucks. Jingle Dubs 3989 is up next. Says, lately it has been West Loop. What? A fantastic fragrance and definitely different than the most popular scents out there as of right now. Also, I've mentioned this one in previous posts, but Trussardi's Reflesso Blue Vibe seems to get a lot of attention. Nobody ever talks about it, but it's really well done, and again, smells different than a lot of what's out there. So first off, West Loop is a fragrance I creatively directed underneath the Michael Malone brand. It's back here as well. And you can find this in every Perfumania, every fragrance outlet store in the United States, or you can order it online, which is also linked below, and code GENTSCENTS will save you money on that. And I have to shout out a lot of you guys that have purchased this one. I got a bunch of comments actually on this question where West Loop was the one that you guys were talking about. So thank you every single person that's bought this and is wearing it and enjoys it. It's been doing really well in stores. People have just been giving a ton of great feedback. So I'm really appreciative to all you dudes out there. Thank you. I don't want to talk about that one too much because it's, you know, it's mine. I'm like biased on it, but again, thank you guys so much. And then Reflesso Blue Vibe. This is one that when I first got it, didn't really like it a whole lot, honestly. I did the first impressions of it a long time ago. Oh, what feels like a long time ago. I don't know, probably what, like 5 years ago at this point or something. You could probably search it up on the channel. But this is one that did grow on me. Like, first impressions were not great. And then I went back to it probably like legitimately a year later. It just kind of sat there and I didn't wear it. Went back, tried it again, and I was like, whoa, that's actually pretty nice. Now, again, it's kind of the same deal going on with this one. Doesn't smell like this one, but it's called Blue Vibe. And so you see that name and you probably anticipate a standard blue fragrance. And I think for some people that could like throw them off. And that's because what this actually has pretty prominently actually is a hazelnut. So it has this nuttiness and also kind of a woodiness in the base of the fragrance. And that's really where the focal point is here. Outside of that, I will agree with you, pretty unique compared to most other things out there. And a really nice one that does fly completely under the radar. You know, it's not selling in big numbers or anything like that. The only thing I would say with it is that you could run into the same issue that I had, where when you first smell it, you're kind of taken aback a little bit, and then you kind of grow to enjoy it and then really enjoy it. Definitely a really solid one though, and for a good price at most discounters. Silas 1675 is up next, who comes to us with Parfums de Marly Carlisle. That dark filling with the vanilla just hits the spot for me, and I always get compliments while wearing it. Absolutely love it. I'd say it's the best from the Marly line, 10 out of 10. So you got really good quality with this one. It has nice wearability, quite classy. It is strong, so the performance is there. It projects pretty heavily. A little bit similar to Red Tobacco from Manera, but not as aggressive as Red Tobacco, not as much of an emphasis on the spice, especially off the top, as Red Tobacco. The way that it comes across there is much more potentially divisive, whereas this one is more classy, a little bit more grown up. And for this one, for Silas, this is the absolute best from the line. For me, I put it up right toward the top. You know, I've got like Leighton up there, Harrod up there, but this is right there alongside those because it is really, really good. Then we got one from Vasily Ivanov 9657 who says, any batch of Black Excess by Paco Rabanne, very underrated perfume in my opinion, and certainly deserves much more attention from the FragCon. It seems that although it still features on the Paco Rabanne website, they've discontinued it, as all airports and stores say that they don't ship them anymore, at least in the EU. Definitely a legendary scent that still continues to consistently bring me compliments. So I agree that this is a killer scent. I actually really like Black Excess. It's sweet. It has a decent performance for me. It easily gets noticed. It's a compliment puller. The problem is, I think that it got overshadowed by 1 million because a lot of people put this one kind of in that like clubbing sphere, like night out type of fragrance. Same thing with 1 million. They're both from Paco Rabanne. Obviously 1 million did a lot better as far as sales. And so it just kind of swallowed this one up essentially, even though they don't smell the same. So you have a really nice kind of woodiness underneath this one. You've got praline in there. You've got cinnamon tolu balsam. So a very nice, warm, quite sweet scent profile. It is a compliment puller. I think that it's just really, as you said, an underrated fragrance. And it's kind of been pushed by the wayside. There were flankers that came out to this one. A lot of them command a pretty penny nowadays, but Black Excess as a line, kind of like Pure Excess and just XS, you know, there's really nothing going on with them. Right now, Paco Rabanne is basically Invictus, 1 million, Phantom. So the XS fragrances are, yeah, not talked about much. But I do love Black Excess. It smells great. And as of when I'm shooting this video, it looks like anyway, the Joma Shop has this style, the older style bottle, and also the newer style bottle, which looks like the Pure Excess bottles. Only these ones are like $5 more. That said, I would still go with these, a little bit of, you know, a little older, a little more age to them. Then we got one from Back In 219, a personal favorite fragrance of mine, Uomo Signature, hands down. The coffee and leather combo is immaculate. And I just want to reiterate this, that I say all the time that Uomo from Ferragamo and Uomo Signature are low-key compliment beasts. They're fragrances that a lot of people may smell and think, you know, that's not really a compliment getter type scent profile. You know, coffee, kind of a warm sweetness to it, tiramisu kind of vibe going on. They'll say, I don't know. But for me, these have always worked really, really, really well. Jean Paul Gaultier Scandal also. So Signature has great performance. The quality is there. If you like coffee in your fragrances, especially on the sweeter side, check this stuff out. And sometimes you can get it from discounters for a really nice price, like $40 or under. Next up, we got one from Jafar fan page, and I could be completely butchering that. Could be like JAFR fan page, but I'm thinking like Disney's Aladdin, Jafar. But yeah, for me, every single time it's Bad Boy Cobalt. No idea why, but every time everyone loves it and swears by it. This one actually does pretty well as far as sales, and it's one that pulls attention, gets compliments. You look at the note breakdown, and it's got like truffle in there, and you think, I don't know, this doesn't really smell nice or sound like it would smell nice. But in actuality, this one is nice and sweet. It's fresh, a little aromatic. And yeah, it's just one that is easy to wear, really versatile, and gets compliments, like I said. So Bad Boy Cobalt makes sense. Really nice choice. Lalo the Paulo says, Prada Lunarosa Black. When I show people and have them smell it, the rubbery aspect throws them off almost 100% of the time. But when I wear it, it's one of my highest compliment getters. Fairly unique too. Yep, I do find this unique. I think, you know, you can find maybe 1 or 2 other fragrances out there that have some similarities to this one. But when you look at the entire fragrance market as a whole, yeah, really, really, really unique, especially compared to what most people are wearing. As you said, that rubbery aspect, you know, that can be a little bit like, whoa, when people smell it right up close. But this is one thing that I've talked about before, is fragrances, when people smell them, when you're wearing them, they typically pick it up in the air, right? You know, people aren't coming up and sticking their nose into the crook of your elbow here, or like sticking their nose into your clavicle and just being like, oh, that's a little rubbery, man. Like that doesn't really happen. They pick it up in the air, you know, your scent cloud, your scent trail. And also that rubbery aspect does kind of die down as the fragrance dries down itself. So not really something to worry about. Lunar Russell Black is one that I've deeply loved. That sounds weird. Ever since it came out. And it does make sense why people would come up and be like, what are you wearing? Because again, pretty different than your typical scent. Nikolaj Jovanovic, 3647, says, I have over 100 fragrances, many of which are expensive niche scents. However, last year, the most complimented and questioned about fragrance that I got was for Paco Rabanne Invictus Victory Elixir. I didn't expect it, but people seem to be going crazy over it. I mean, yeah, that checks out. This was one of my absolute favorite releases of last year. It has that vanilla, which is really popular right now, being used in so many different men's fragrances that have been coming out here lately. It's got this kind of sparkly feel to it, the way that vanilla comes across, so it doesn't sit too heavy, even though it has nice performance. Because it could come across like just a really heavy, dense, you know, powdery, thick vanilla, and then it maybe wouldn't be as appealing, because then it's just kind of like, ugh, just heavy, you know? It's like when you eat something really heavy, it's like, ugh. But this has that good performance, as I said, that everybody's looking for, projection, longevity, but the way the vanilla is used, it gives it this sparkle, this kind of liveliness, so it doesn't just sit there and feel heavy. And that's very attractive, the way that comes across. So Victory Elixir, like to see it here because that's one I love. Robert Sanchez, 8917, says, wore Givenchy Gentleman Boisé, and my lady that grows tired of my collection was captivated by this scent. That and Your Own Sport. So she likes fragrances that have a little wood to them, a little woodiness, because Gentleman Boisé is, of course, the version of Gentleman with that iris that has a little woody undertone. I love it. I love pretty much the entire Gentleman line. I think that it's extremely well done, and actually another one that does fly under the radar a little bit if we're talking about what your average person is buying. Because you gotta remember, right, that the people that are really into fragrances, that are buying fragrances, what they're buying, that may not be the same thing as what your average guy's buying. So lovely choice, lovely fragrance. And Your Own Sport too, also really great. Mark Berry, 5751 says, Red Tobacco from Manera. Also, Mont Blanc Explorer Ultra Blue. With that one, I really don't get the hate. It smells great. I have nearly 200 fragrances, including rich ones like Interlude 53 from Amouage, fresh like Light Blue Eau Intense, etc. So I do have a wide taste. So it surprises me that Ultra Blue is slated. So we mentioned Red Tobacco earlier when talking about Carlisle. Red Tobacco is strong, it packs a punch, it's easy to get noticed when you have that on because it projects out heavily, lasts a long time. The opening can be a little bit off-putting for people because it's very strong, once again, and has just kind of a mix of a bunch of notes going on, where if you've never smelled it before, that opening can be like, a bit much. Ultra Blue is a fragrance, Explorer Ultra Blue, fragrance that I have said in the past that I'm not a big fan of, but I am not going to yuck Mark's yum. And so with this one, it's a scent that you can get for a really good price. From discounters, this is typically very affordable. It's easily worn in spring and summertime. Nice daytime fragrance, good casually. You could wear it to the office. And it's an easygoing freshie, and people love freshies. So Explorer Ultra Blue and Red Tobacco. Ahmed Mubarak C says, I understand you might not like this, it's fine, but it's Club de Nuit Intense Man, Eau de Parfum. Despite having a decent fragrance collection, I frequently get asked about this specific one, and I can't deny it's a bit annoying. There's worse things in life. Have somebody come up and ask you what you're wearing and say they love it. I mean, yeah, I can think of a lot of worse things than that. So you say I might not like it, but I have no qualms with Club de Nuit Intense Man. I know that lots and lots and lots and lots of people out there love this one, get great use out of it. It has good performance, it doesn't cost that much, and I think that's important. You've got to have fragrances out there that don't cost a ton, because not everybody has, you know, hundreds or thousands of dollars to spend on whatever they want, right? So having the ability to get a fragrance that's gonna get you noticed like this, that lasts a long time, that you don't have to think about too much and you don't have to spend a lot, it's really important. So I'm not gonna ever bag on this for that. Last but not least, we have Merrick Lindo 938. I know I will be the only one that says this, but it's Manera Silver Blue. It surprises even me, but people absolutely love it. I work in customer service and had to pull up Google a couple times to show images to customers. Good old Manera, getting a lot of recognition here. Manera, one of those niche brands that's so easy for people to kind of get into because a lot of their fragrances are really easily worn. They have, once again, great performance, and they don't cost that much, assuming you shop from discounters. Honestly, even at retail, for a niche fragrance brand, they're not that expensive. Silver Blue is another one that has blue in the name, like these two that we talked about, and yet is not a typical blue fragrance. In fact, this one has amber, spices, and caramel as some of the main notes in the fragrance. It's actually more like warm, spicy, kind of sweet than it is a freshy blue fragrance. This is great for fall, even winter, early spring, and it's one that I think it's overlooked because with Manera, you know, the big dogs are like Red Tobacco, Cedar Appoise, Instant Crush, maybe Roses Vanille, stuff like that. But this, it can hang with those, you know? It can get those compliments. It has good versatility, good usability, but just doesn't get recognized. So glad to see it here. So there we go, guys. Those are your choices. Fragrances that have people coming up to you asking you, what are you wearing? And apparently the color scheme that you should go with is black for your bottle, or dark, because I'm seeing a lot of dark bottles up here. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. Thank you guys.